I'm about to show you the best renovation that I have ever tackled. Every single step I did myself. This bathroom takes the cake for my most favorite renovation to date. It's small, standard, and 60 years old. It goes to show you that you don't need a lot of money to make it look like you have it, because this bathroom is luxurious and I don't have a lot of money. So let's get into it.
Honestly, for being a 60-year-old bathroom, this tub wasn't in bad shape at all, but I had to demo everything. It all had to go. So we started with the beautiful arches. One of the questions I get when I demo online is people don't really know where to start. And the only thing that I can tell you is if it's ugly, rip it out. Be careful of the drywall that you want to keep. Other than that, just smash it. Just literally smash it. It came off super easy. And the fact that I had the window there to help with the demo was great because I just threw every large piece outside. Yes, I bagged it all up eventually, but the large pieces of plastic, I didn't have to walk down the stairs and then out of the house. I just threw that shit out the window. There was no mold and no rot except for this one small piece by the tub.
So you found some rot in your bathroom. Don't panic.
I simply just cut that out, added in a new 2x4. It's not a structural wall, so the only thing it had to do was hold the drywall. I was very surprised to see how well this shower has kept up for 60 years. Demo was $0. Oh, never mind. Sorry. It was $22 for contractor bags. Other than that, it was just blood, sweat, and tears. No blood. Actually, no tears either. So $22 for demo. I'm always daydreaming about one of these big, beautiful soaker tubs. So yeah, I test them out every single time I go in store. But the reality is this space is 6 feet wide by 12 feet long, and that includes the tub and the vanity and the toilet. So you only really have about 2 feet of walking space like a standard bathroom, and I'm trying to keep the cost down. This would require so much more plumbing. Anyway, it was too much. So I went with a standard tub. It was $440 and about $65 to plumb it in. So call it $500 even. All of my videos, I will never suggest that you do your own plumbing. This is what he does for a living, so I scored on not having to pay for that. And honestly, I was glad that this part was over because now I can get to the beautiful tile. Probably wondering why I'm leaving everything else. So I actually split the bathroom into two. Here, I'll explain why.
The reason I started the bathroom renovation in the shower was simply because I only have one bathroom in this house. I didn't want to tie up the water source, so I kept the vanity while I tackled the tub. Let me get in the bathtub. Don't mind the soap scum. Obviously, black tile is absolutely stunning. It's a showstopper, but that's going to be probably the downfall, is you're going to be able to see every flick. Whatever. Before I started anything, I took my Schluter edge, which is the tile edge. The number one way to take your tile install from DIY to a professional level is to make sure that all of the exposed edges get a Schluter edge. Just a tile strip, a band, something. That way you don't see the side of the tile, or you don't have to caulk it, and it just ends up looking terrible, to be completely honest. I wanted to start my tile project with a full tile. I personally don't like when you start your tile at your tub, because a lot of the times you get splash, especially over with the faucet side of things. This right here, which is actually what happened with the tub surround that was in this space beforehand. So this actually was what was rotted out on both sides, because you're just gonna constantly have that splash. So personally, it's an aesthetic detail, but I love having tile on the outside to look intentional. Now to do that, instead of cutting a piece of the tile out and running like a 1/2 inch strip down, which I see a lot of, I wanted a full tile. I probably could have done two, and then I wanted to tile the whole bathroom, so I had to stop myself somewhere. I took a full tile here, knowing that I was going to start them all the way in. Now, what you see is this 1/16 of an inch, maybe it's 3/8, spacer. That would have left me with a 1/2 inch piece in the corner there. Again, I was very intentional with wanting full tiles. So in order to switch to have that not happen, I ended up doing like the first 3 with a spacer, and I still used a spacer here, but I slowly made them a little bit bigger, checking, because to your visual eye, you're never going to see that this space gets slightly larger all the way across. It's either that or you keep them the exact same and you end up having a tiny little piece of tile in the corner there, and I did not want that to happen. So I marked out where I was going to put my Schluter edge, and then I ended up tiling a full tile all the way, and then it looks extremely intentional. The second thing I probably would have done was install these during the install. I actually found these online after the tile was completely done and held my breath as I used my grinder to cut into the tile. I found a caulking that matched. You will never know the difference.
Okay, let's backtrack. I just wanted you to see why I did my bathtub first, because some parts of the videos you're going to see a completely beautiful bathtub and then the vanity still looks like crap. That was truly intentional. If you have the ability to gut the entire thing, do that. If you can believe it, other than using my grinder for the curved cuts around the faucet, the only tool that I used for this entire tile install was this score and snap. I don't even know the professional name for it, but it's the easiest tool to use. You don't need a wet saw. I have a small version of one, but it's not needed on every single tile job. This and my grinder worked completely fine to get the job done, and I think it's absolutely beautiful. Just score along your marked line, make sure that it's scored a couple of times. Once you do a few, you'll get it, and then you just snap it and it's cut. You'll also see in this video that I am in fact using my laser level for every single tile. Now I do use the laser level throughout the entire install, but those first few rows are absolutely crucial to set up the rest of your tile for success. If you get those level and plumb, everything else will be a breeze. I'm not going to walk you through every detail step by step how to tile, but what I will do is link my how to tile video down below. That way you can finish this one and then deep dive into how to get the tile look. I have a lot of information in different videos that are broken down into more detailed videos. So if you are learning how to renovate your home, or you're just looking for some inspiration, some ideas, definitely click subscribe, because I feel like my videos truly do help you. I'm trying to pack them full of information, lessons that I've learned, especially if you don't know where to start or you're just new to the renovation game. I'm also not going to lie to you. You should absolutely do black tile and black grout, but I'm not going to lie to you and say that it's probably the messiest tile job that I have ever done, because it's black, the water's black, the splashes are black, everything is black. But look how beautiful it turned out. Okay, let's move on. On to the next one. That's my list. I always keep a list to make sure that I have everything checked off. But the next up is the vanity. So the vanity that was in the old bathroom was actually really large. I'll turn you around, you'll see. So the vanity that was in the space beforehand was actually started at the wall, went all the way across, and then I think it left me about a foot between the toilet. And originally I thought I want to keep it that way. And my plan was to get 2 of these vanities and put them side by side and do a custom sink. But then I thought I actually don't need that much vanity space. These drawers are great. I mean, there's only toilet paper in them right now. But the vanity was pretty straightforward. It was just a swap out and a swap in. This vanity was twice the length, and it was really crappy plywood. So typically I like to save these things when I take them out, and I will either put it on Facebook Marketplace for free or like $50 to make back for my reno. But there was no saving this one because it was built in place. So it was only the front and the side wall. There was no back. It served its purpose for 60 years. Great job, vanity, but you gotta go. And this is why I kept the vanity until I was done the shower, because now I still have running water in the bathroom because the shower is complete. The last time these countertops were in style, I was probably this high. As soon as the vanity was gone, I ripped up the floor. It was very simple because it was just roll out linoleum, and it was brittle and came up so easy.
Before we install our new floor, we want to get rid of this squeak. When they installed the plywood subfloor, they nailed it down. So that nail is going to eventually loosen just enough in the joist. There's nothing wrong with it, but it's really annoying. So we're gonna go along all of the joints and we're gonna screw them off. The screw will pull it tight and we won't have any more squeaking, so let's do it.
I did what felt like 4,000 screws. We don't need to watch all of that, but the moral of the story is now I'm not going to have any squeak in my bathroom floor. If you're keeping your bathroom floor, and I know I've had this question a few times, you don't have the ability to screw it in, you can actually go up and under if your ceiling is open downstairs and shim the subfloor. I can get into that in another video. Let me know below if you want me to. Here's where I'm gonna get a little bit of controversy because I already got it on Instagram. I know not everybody loves vinyl tile, but this flooring is extremely durable, really well made, has an underlay built in, and after tackling tile in my shower for an entire week, I wanted a simple yet very beautiful way out of tiling the floor. I've also received controversy online because I actually cut a hole in my floor. I decided that I needed to make a laundry chute. Well, my 14-year-old decided that this is what the corner of the bathroom needed, and she's so right. I found this cabinet on Wayfair for $200. I will link it. It's perfect. I cut a hole in the bottom of it, as well as a hole in the floor that matched up. I mounted it in, so no, you cannot fall through the hole. And no, I did not cut out the joists for those of you who are going to ask me that question. I'm not that dumb. And then I secured the cabinet to the floor. 11 out of 10, you need a laundry chute.
What? There's a joist there.
I didn't really care. I actually really don't care. I finished the floor and I absolutely loved it. Finally felt like I was getting somewhere. I got my new toilet up and out of the box, and if you can consider a toilet being pretty, I would definitely say that the ones that don't have the swirly bit of plumbing and it goes straight to the floor, 11 out of 10 for the shitter. I don't know if I should ever go into detail about how to install the monotonous parts of these projects. So if you want me to put together a toilet video in great detail, I have the footage. I can absolutely do that for you. So next I'm going to talk about why the lighting plan is so important. And actually, I decided where my mirrors were going before I decided any placement of the ceiling, and I'm going to show you why that matters. I still have to cut that out a little bit bigger so that it pops in.
Crazy, whoop, down here. How one small detail can stick with you forever. I saw a hanging shower curtain rod from the ceiling 4 or 5 years ago online, saved the picture because I thought to myself, one day I'm going to do this. And honestly, this entire bathroom renovation, it sounds crazy, was based on hanging this from the ceiling. Wanted both of these beams to be on either edge of the shower, directly into the shower, so that I could hang that as a drop down. So the same way I talked about planning out your tile properly, in order to give it a professional level finish, this is also very crucial for every step, but the electrical is one of the biggest things I think you should truly plan out. And my reason for that is you think, okay, I'm just gonna swap out my lights or I'm gonna put in a fan. Well, hear me out. I had both of my beams running into the shower. In order to do that, I had to figure out where the fan was. So the fan would be central of both beams, which obviously meant the pot light would be central of the shower, which is a given. But then I'm gonna bring you over here. I'm going to lay on the floor for this one and show you my thought process.
So we're on the floor. Once I figured out that I wanted both of those beams going into the shower, then I had to figure out what was going to happen in this section. So I took my mirrors and I actually figured out where they went first. The reason why I did that was because if you see right here, I am center of the beams. So I couldn't have put my mirrors over a little bit because it would have looked strange. My mirrors look like they're center of the beams, but that is for a reason. So it's actually, the space between here is different than here, but what mattered more was your eyesight, seeing that the mirrors are in between both beams. Now this is actually 7 inches smaller than this, and you can probably see that now. But again, the number one thing that I was thinking was this beam has to go here because it's in the shower. So my mirrors, it's 6 inches in. So then this beam is going to have to go 6 inches in, which made this section 7 inches smaller than this section. But again, that's not what your eye is going to be focused on. Your eye is going to be focused on that this beam and this beam line up perfectly with the mirrors. So then I figured out that the pot light had to go here, even though it wasn't centered of anything. And then the lights would have to be 4 inches on either side of the beam. So before you do anything and you just think I'm going to swap a mirror out and put a mirror in, or I'm going to just install a pot light, if you're doing some sort of ceiling effect like I did and you want things to be centered, that should be your thought process, where absolutely everything is going to land and what matters more. The fact that this section is 7 inches smaller than this one, or the two beams being exactly where the mirrors are, being exactly where the lights are. Capiche?
Now that I'm down here on the floor, for one, I don't want to get up because I am loving this ceiling so much, but I want to talk about it for just a second. When you see a wood ceiling, you think, oh, that's nice. But I think what brings this to the absolute next level is the fact that there are no knots. So I chose poplar, which was really easy to work with. It works very much like a pine. So it's technically considered a hardwood, but it works like a softwood. So if you're new to working with wood and different cutting techniques or anything like that, it's 10 out of 10. Has the forgiveness factor compared to if you were using a walnut or a birch or a maple or something that is really hard. And poplar has no knots, and you can also make it look honestly like anything. A lot of people don't like poplar because it pulls a green or purple hue, but I think from my experience, as long as you're not staining it with a yellow undertone, this is definitely a warmer undertone. It's definitely got honey vibes, but it doesn't pull the green or the purple the way it would if you were to keep it natural or even do like a blonde stain. So you just have to make sure that what you're staining it with works with the poplar. This is what it's like to be my 3-year-old. He's got a pretty cool view. He can see the ceiling better than I can. I like his view. Now let's talk about the paint color. The fact that this paint color is not what I actually chose. I went with dark. I very, very quickly realized that dark was not the vibe. I had this entire plan in my head that it was going to be dark and moody with a wood ceiling. No, the next day, full panic, drove an hour, got a new paint color. So happy that I did that. I installed new lights. They are Cusco. Kent Building Supplies special ordered them for me, and I will link my other video down below of how to install lights. I don't want to break down these bathroom or kitchen renovations into every single step for every single part of it, only because I would be here on a 2-hour episode. So I'm going to put it into smaller videos, and then you can just sort of pick and choose what it is you want to learn. Or you can just watch everything, and then I just love you so much. Okay, thanks. The last missing piece to the puzzle was the ceiling, and I didn't realize how important it was until I got it up there. I used poplar 1x6 tongue and groove that was milled up locally from East Coast Specialty Hardwoods here in Dartmouth, and I finished it with Osmos wood stain and their Poly X oil. When I tell you that I have never seen a nicer finish, I mean it. The downside is I have to do this in every single space now, and I've created a lot more work for myself. But the upside is I have to do this in every single space. I'm going to link the full video below. It's got much more detail. I will teach you how I did it from start to finish. I just didn't want to add another 15 minutes onto this video, as this is the overall bathroom video, but each of my steps are broken down in separate videos. So make sure you click subscribe, like the video, comment any questions that you have, because I am here. I do answer my comments, and I really want to help you out with your renovation. I want you to be just as excited as I am when you walk away from your new space. Thanks, guys. I will see you next time. Have a great day.